Can someone explain to me why traditional 401k may be better than Roth 401k? From my understanding, traditional 401k is pre-tax dollars, but withdrawals on contributions and interest earnings are taxed at the time of withdrawal. Roth 401k after-tax contributions and interest earnings and withdrawals of contributions are not taxed. Knowing this, why would anyone do a traditional 401k when in a Roth 401k earnings of the investments are never taxed? Maybe I am missing something. You get a tax deduction now for the traditional 401k. Not a CFA/CFP, but traditional 401k is often better if you have a high annual income and/or have a somewhat complicated tax situation. Roth 401k is often recommended to young people who are at starting salaries and less likely to own real estate, so will have a light tax burden. This is because you won't pay capital gains taxes on Roth contributions in retirement. So for someone who is at the beginning of their earnings potential, the tax deferral is less helpful. I do traditional. I would rather have the tax benefit now, as there is no guarantee I will live into retirement. Also, by deferring the tax, I have more time to save and earn to pay the tax later. Edit. Thanks stranger for the gold. Say when you put money in, your marginal rate is 30, and when you are retired, your average tax rate is 15. You put in $1,000 pre-tax. It grows 10 for 30 years to $17,450. Then you pull out $14,830 after tax. You put in $700 Roth after tax. It grows 10 for 30 years to $12,215, which you pull out with no additional tax. $14,830, $12,215. 1. You may believe your income is higher now than in retirement, meaning traditional would incur a lower tax burden in retirement. 2. You should ideally have both traditional and Roth, and in retirement you can decide which to withdraw from. Roth 401k is taxed at whatever your income is today, so you're taking a percentage off the top now. A 401k reduces your tax burden today while simultaneously, in theory, gets taxed at a lower bracket when you pull it out in retirement, since that will be your income and it is typically lower than what you make now. I'm sure there's an income level likely on the lower end of the brackets where Roth 401k may make more sense, but if you're getting taxed a lot now, it's best to defer. Why not do both so you have the option? I do traditional since my income is already at a high tax bracket. With traditional, my income will basically be $22,000 less per year, which puts me in a lower tax bracket. I think another component to consider is what are you doing with the tax savings by contributing to a traditional 401k versus Roth 401k. By contributing to a traditional 401k, your take-home pay today will inherently be greater than by contributing the same amount to a Roth 401k. You could take those tax savings and invest it further in a traditional Roth IRA or other tax-advantaged account. When you put money in a traditional tax-deferred account, the taxes you save are at your highest marginal rate. When you take the money out, some is taxed at 0 up to your standard deduction. Some is taxed at 10. Some at 12. Then the rest at 22, 24, 32, etc. So if you are withdrawing less money from your 401k in retirement than you were earning during your working years, you will pay a significantly lower percent in taxes because your effective tax rate is always less than your marginal rate. By contrast, when you fund a Roth, the money was taxed at your highest marginal rate to begin with. Trad retirement accounts can potentially provide $26,000 in tax write-offs every year. That's an extra, like, $5,000 each year you are free to invest. Think of the legal aspects of a 401k versus a IRA Roth IRA. A 401k is protected from legal forms of seizure, garnishment, lien, or levy, whereas a secondary retirement account like a Roth won't be. Model it both ways. Essentially, you invest more 100 of pre-tax rather than 70 or 60 of pre-tax. You get gains on the money you didn't give to Uncle Sam. And then you pay taxes over time, but only on the amount you withdraw. Plus, tax rates are progressive. So while you might save 40 in taxes thanks California, income is way lower on the first $40,000 of withdrawals. There is no way to know for sure which will be better for you. It depends on your income now versus your income in retirement, the tax rates now versus in retirement, and how long you live if you are only retired for a short time because you die younger. You would have been better off getting the tax deduction while you worked. I went all pre-tax because when I started working that was all there was. And it become my routine. If I was starting over, I would go 50-50. High-income tax states like California. I am in the marginal 33.3 state Fed income tax bracket. I am very likely moving to a low or no state tax in retirement. With a Roth, I would pay CA state tax and get no benefit in retirement. Maybe I am missing something. Yeah, you are. No offense, dude, but 99% of the time people asking this question don't realize the tax savings. Because they don't understand how income taxes work. I always tell people to fully understand taxes at first. Then the decision will be very obvious. Hi, I work at a 401k place. When withdrawals occur, we inform participants traditional is taxed 20. Federal past age 59.5 with no penalty, but also be aware for those age of 73 they are required to take RMD from all retirement accounts. Usually the general rule of thumb is if you think you will be in a higher tax bracket when you retire than you are now, Roth, otherwise traditional. That being said, I still think Roth is the best way to go for a variety of reasons. It keeps growing tax-free, does not require mandatory withdrawals, and it can be passed down and the inheritor will be free of taxes as well on that account, etc. That being said, I would max out my Roth and take advantage of company safe harbor where I can, and the rest usually in a traditional IRA until maxed, then back to 401k. With the IRA, you have typically more investment options than 401k. The answer is compounding. If I can afford to lose $100 a pay period on retirement. In a traditional 401k, that means $100 goes straight in my retirement. In a Roth, I'm only getting $75. Do that for 30 years at 8 growth, and the traditional far outperforms the Roth. Even if I have to pay 25 in taxes in the end when withdrawing. Move to a country with a low tax rate, withdraw at a lower rate. If you're already in a higher tax bracket, you should do a traditional 401k. Since your tax bracket is already higher, you might as well put more up front in the account pre-tax. And let the magic of compound interest get to work. Then you can deal with tax later. Unless you expect a big pension, lot of income from properties, etc., which will push you into an even higher tax bracket when you retire. Then you probably want to do a Roth 401k. If you're in a lower tax bracket now, Roth 401k makes a lot of sense cause you won't be taxed that much. And you get the full fruits of your compound interest labor when you retire. It's going to come down to your marginal tax rate now versus in retirement.